Now at 5, day 4 in the search for a missing toddler along the Oregon coast. Also, deadly shootings on Portland's streets with 3 people now dead in less than 24 hours. And President Trump set to deliver his first address to Congress in his second term as controversy builds around tariffs and other sweeping changes. Thank you for joining us here at 5. I'm Christine Pitawanich. We just got an update from the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office about the search for the missing 2-year-old boy. Dane Paulson was last seen outside his home on Saturday in the town of Siletz near the Oregon coast. The Sheriff's Office now says the search will be focused on Siletz River, since Dane was last seen near the river's edge before he disappeared. Over the last 72 hours, law enforcement and more than 200 volunteers have covered around 680 acres near the Paulsons' home. Deputies have also investigated roughly a couple hundred or so leads and tips. And after searching from the air, ground, and water, there is still no sign of Dane. The Sheriff's Office says this case will remain a priority.
So far, the evidence available indicates Dane was at the river's edge before his disappearance. Because of this, we will be focusing the majority of our ongoing resources on searching the Siletz River. We are using drones, divers, watercraft, canines.
Jaron Airy was in Siletz and spoke with some of the volunteers in the search earlier today.
It has been an agonizing 4 days for the family of 2-year-old Dane Paulson, who went missing late Saturday afternoon. Since then, hundreds of volunteers have been searching the area where he was last seen.
Hi, if you're searching, we need you to sign in over here, please.
On Tuesday, volunteers were out here again.
I'm saying we're probably pushing 600 now since Sunday.
Jeff Lawrence has been helping with the volunteer efforts as hundreds have been gathering at this Elks Lodge just across the Siletz River from where the 2-year-old boy was last seen.
We had kind of called the search last night on this side, and then they decided again to open it up. So it went back out on social media. So we've had people coming in since about 8:30 or 9 this morning.
Lawrence said he called the search off last night only to have it start up again on Tuesday morning. This time, crews went miles back into this forested area and worked their way back.
They came into an area and then they're going to push back this way. So they started a long ways off and they'll be coming back this way.
Crews have been spread all over this area in the Coast Range searching.
As far as the search, I can tell you the efforts have been just phenomenal. So between the personnel that have been out here and the donations that we've gotten from the community,
in hopes that this little boy is found.
That was Jaron Airy reporting. In less than an hour, President Donald Trump will address a joint session of Congress. It's not a State of the Union address, by the way, but Trump is expected to tout his accomplishments in his first 6 weeks in office. Our Tim Gordon is here now with a look at what to expect. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Christine, and obviously Democrats are not happy. Some won't even show up for that address, but many members of Congress and those affected by the Trump agenda are wanting to be heard. To say it's been a consequential month and a half is really an understatement. Since an Oval Office meeting flared out of control with Ukraine's president, a lot of the talk has been about the Trump administration's treatment of Ukraine, but there is so much more on the domestic front, on the economy, with tough tariffs going into effect today against our neighbors, Canada and Mexico and China as well. And the massive cuts inflicted by Elon Musk's Doge effort, programs, and thousands of people who had federal jobs serving our country now fired. That includes Liz Crandall, a fired U.S. Forest Service ranger from Bend.
We must come together as a united nation to protect our federal workers, who consist of your neighbors, your family, your friends, or just local community members. In doing so, we are protecting our communities and our public lands, which boast our history, natural beauty, and draw in visitors from around the world and around the country.
And by the way, Crandall will be the guest of Oregon Representative Janelle Bynum at tonight's presidential address to Congress. Christine?
Yeah, a lot of people will be watching. Thank you, Tim. And you can watch the president's speech right here on KGW. Coverage begins at 6 o'clock, both here on air and on our free TV app, KGW+. Then after the speech, we'll have a special edition newscast at 9 p.m. Meantime, stocks tumbled for a second straight day as Trump's tariffs on Canada, China, and Mexico took effect. The S&P 500, Dow, and NASDAQ all fell today. About $3 trillion in gains since Trump's election have now been wiped out. That's according to Bloomberg. And now retailers like Best Buy and Target are warning of higher prices for shoppers because of the tariffs. In Portland, protesters rallied at City Hall ahead of Trump's speech tonight. They're speaking out against what they call unconstitutional executive overreach and attacks on democracy.
This is a great start, a turnout. We need to defend this country. All these people here understand the importance of what we're trying to do here and how we have to represent.
So this is all part of the 50-51 movement, where there are efforts to hold protests in every state on the same day. Meantime, students at Woodburn High School walked out of class today. They say it's to show solidarity with immigrant students. They met in front of the school, then marched to the downtown Woodburn Plaza. The Woodburn School Board recently rejected a resolution that would have reaffirmed Oregon's sanctuary laws. 3 of the 5 board members voted no, citing concerns related to funding and that the resolution would make the district a target. To Portland's gun violence now, 3 people are dead in 3 separate shootings less than a day apart. 2 happened within about half an hour of each other late last night, and the most recent was this afternoon. The latest was just after 1 o'clock today near Northeast Gertz Road and MLK Boulevard in the East Columbia neighborhood. Police found a woman dead when they arrived. At this point, we don't have any other details about what happened. And one of the 2 shootings from last night was also on Northeast MLK. This one was near Columbia Boulevard. When police arrived, they found a man who'd been shot. He died at the hospital. His identity has not been released. The other shooting last night happened at North Williams and Ivy Street. Police say when they got there around 11:30, the victim was already dead. It's still not clear who the victim is or their age, but we spoke to a nearby neighbor.
Can't imagine what kind of a place somebody's head is in where human life is that cheap.
So far, there are no arrests in any of these shootings. We'll keep an eye out on any updates from police. A truck driver convicted of killing 7 people in a deadly crash along I-5 will be spending the next 48 years in prison. Our Devin Haskins was in court today as family members spoke out about the impact of that deadly crash. Devin now joining us live from Salem. Devin, what can you tell us?
Yeah, it was an emotional day in court today as several of the victims and family members spoke to the judge ahead of that driver being sentenced. The judge ultimately sentencing 54-year-old Lincoln Smith to 579 months in jail. Today in court, Lincoln Smith sat there as the judge sentenced him. Last month, he was convicted on 7 counts of manslaughter, 3 counts of assault, and 1 count of reckless driving after his semi crashed into a van that had pulled over on the side of the freeway near Albany, killing 7 people. The victims were all farm workers on their way to another job. The defense had asked that Smith only be sentenced for 150 months. The judge sided with the prosecution, who recommended Smith spend 75 months in jail for each manslaughter charge and 18 months for each assault charge. Today in court, with the help of an interpreter, several of the victims and families spoke about what happened and the impact that it has had on them. Then, when they finished, Smith apologized for what had happened.
And now I say to you, my brother had a family. My brother had children. My friends, my companions, we all had siblings, families.
I just want all the families and the people to know that if I could trade my life for any of theirs, I would do it right today.
The judge, in speaking to Smith, said that he should have known better. He is not eligible for early release or good behavior, meaning the earliest he could be released is when he's 102 years old. Back to you.
Heartbreaking testimony in court today. Devin Haskins reporting live from Salem. Thank you, Devin.